Welcome everyone to another episode of the Virtual Ninja Show. My name is Heike and I will be your host. I have back with me today Corina. Corina was already on the show twice and I'm super excited that she comes again. But for everyone who might not know you, Corina, please introduce yourself.
I'm Corina Feuerstein. I'm a product management lead on the Defender team. And I'm here today to talk to you about, you want me to say, Heike?
Yes, please. Let me get out of the bag.
All right. So we're going to talk about Security Copilot in Defender and Sentinel.
Yes, this is super exciting. So we had an episode before. We talked about Security Copilot and looked up at the standalone version. So today we are looking into the embedded version that is part of Microsoft Defender XDR. And Corina, I remember the last time, like the episodes that we did, it was all about an investigation of a ransomware and how you help people how to navigate the experience and what to do. And I think Copilot will help us now in this as well. So anyone who watched the episode, of course, we will have another investigation today, but a lot of things that Copilot can help you with. Corina, before we actually get totally deep into this, like tell me a little bit about the journey for you and your team on how you got where we are today.
Yes, sure, Heike. It's certainly been a roller coaster since this technology of copilots and using this capability in our products even came up, and all the way only a few months later, that we can now show these capabilities already integrated into our products. So it's been a really crazy a few months, but everyone here was so excited to think about the potential of this technology of generative AI and how it can really uplift so many processes and capabilities in our products. And I think what we will see today is only the very beginning of a longer journey to take this great new capability and really make reimagine some of the things that it can do in our security products to help security analysts and this entire realm. So really excited to be working on this, and I think the team here has been working really hard to get to the milestones that we wanted to get to. But everyone is so excited that it's just been a delight.
Yes. And I mean, as you said, right? I mean, what we are going to show today is not the end of the embedded experience of Copilot in Defender XDR, but we have, of course, our own items on the roadmap, but also working with amazing customers and get feedback for what else might be needed that we are probably not even thinking about. So
yes,
more to
definitely.
come.
Yeah, you have a point there. So I didn't mention this, but as soon as we had something in place very early on, we worked with a group of really great customers and design partners that helped us with, even though things were not ready yet and there was a lot to do still. From the very beginning, we got feedback: what's good, what's not good, where we should focus, what are the bigger problems that we should address. And this is, as always, a really great collaboration of our customers that help shape the form of what we're doing.
And just so everybody knows, we talked about it in the previous episode as well, but Security Copilot is currently in early access preview or program, which means there is a few nominated customers that have now Copilot integrated, or also the standalone experience. And then, of course, the journey will be that it will be general available at some point next year, early next year, I would assume. And then people can also try it out and purchase Security Copilot. But it doesn't mean that this is not an interesting show, because you will just get excited and can't wait for it to be available for you. So I think, Corina, let's just get into it. So I know that you want to show us something about
Yes.
the integration. Yes.
Yes. So I want to say a few words. First of all, the point about the standalone and the embedded experiences. The capabilities are really capabilities that we built to integrate Security Copilot and Defender into what we call skills. These are things that you teach a Copilot to do that relate to the types of tasks and challenges that we have in Defender. And those capabilities, those skills are available to be used from the standalone Security Copilot portal, as well as integrated deeply into our experiences in the Defender portal. And so people can use them in both places. We will also see over time what how usage patterns evolve. I'm sure that this new technology will also shape that. So we'll see how it goes. But for now, we've heard, one of the biggest feedback items, I think, is the fact that people really like that Security Copilot is available right there where they are doing the day-to-day work. And this is why today we're going to show how that part works. And we talked about investigation of incidents before, and it is a non-trivial task often. We talk about here also how security teams are challenged not only with complexity but also with shortage of staff. And so one of the things that have in mind all the time is how can we make the work of the security team the most efficient possible. And this capability definitely goes to that end. With Security Copilot, we'll show how we can make some tasks much faster and much easier to do. And also another aspect is to help security analysts do certain tasks that may be more require more experience or more expertise. It's basically like an expert is sitting next to you, and you can ask it questions, or you can have it help you on the way. So that's how we should look at. That's how we picked some of the first capabilities here that we're going to show.
So, Corina, I asked the same question, Gabriel, on the previous episode. So because I'm always super polite when I talk to ChatGPT. Do you do the same? Are you also polite, or are you just throwing out your question? I even say hello and bye.
I think our biggest problem is that we have so many mistakes in English because it's just not my native language. So it's like, oh, it understood me actually. Great.
Okay, so we can, but being polite is a good thing. So we can also be
It
polite
is.
to
It
an
is.
AI.
Yeah, and one of the things we'll see here is that because this is an embedded experience, we can many times we understand from the context of where we're at, where you're at, what you're trying to do and what questions you're asking yourselves and trying to answer as a SOC analyst. And so, in many cases, you'll see that the Copilot content is actually served without you having to ask a question. It's just there because we know this is the question you're trying to get to. In other places, there will be an experience where you can converse with it, and over time, we will have more in the embedded experiences for this also a conversational type portion.
Okay.
So yeah, let's jump into it.
Yes.
So here we see our incident queue. It's the place where the SOC analysts spend their day. This is actually a special incident queue because we are looking at the unified Defender and Sentinel newly announced product,
The
which is called
Unified Security Operations Platform, Corina.
Yes. Okay, thank you for that, Heike. The Unified Security Operations Platform.
Yes.
And what we see here is an incident queue that has combined incidents from Defender and from Sentinel together in the same queue. Some of them are just individual ones that came from either source, and some are actually even combined, as in some parts came from Sentinel and other parts came from Defender, and the system actually correlated them together into one coherent incident. And this is the one that we're going to talk about today. It's the first one here in the list. Let me click to go into it. And this is the example we're looking at is a SAP financial process manipulation attack. Mm-hmm. This is an attack on the SAP application of this organization. And the incident combines information coming from Defender Microsoft sources, right? Like you can see that there's some phishing and some other parts here, endpoint parts and cloud parts involved. And there's also information coming from Sentinel, which is the SAP information. And that all gets put together, and the system combined this into one incident that is shown here. Now, when I come into this incident as a SOC analyst, the first thing I try to do is understand what happened here, so I can determine the priority and what I need to do. And what happened here, my mind goes, okay, I have this graph in the middle that shows me the elements that are involved here and the relationships, and I have some alerts on the side. Chronologically, they tell me the story of this attack, but it's really hard to determine this way. In my head, I actually start telling myself the story. Oh, I see what happened here. There's this user, Jonathan Walcott. He received an email with a link. They probably clicked on it and got compromised, and so on and so forth. Well, Security Copilot here on the right actually tells me this story in words. I don't have to put it together myself. It tells me user Jonathan Walcott, he operates this device, he received a phishing email with a malicious URL. So all the information is here in a story, and we humans really love stories. This is the way we understand things best, and it's the way we remember things best. So that's just by, again, click. I didn't even have to click anything, because when we know we come into this incident, the first thing we need to do is understand what happened. So the story
Quick
is there.
question before you continue, Corey. Mm-hmm. So I know we all love this text story view, right? So with the graph in the middle, is it then still needed for someone who has Security Copilot? Is there still, of course, I would assume you can click on things and get more details. So it's not that all the work is now for nothing.
Yeah, no, of course not. So the experience is there not just for you to tell what's going on. It has to do with also more detail, drilling in, being able to see very different pivots and so on, and also some different people grasp things in different ways. So I think this is a complementary view. The experience is all interactive, of course. So for you to go on and continue, and we'll see how it actually ends up being a balance between, what Copilot provides you and what you get from the experience, and how that all works together.
Good. So, okay, this is the summary that you just talked about at the very top that tells you the whole story.
Right.
What do we have more there? There is not just the summary.
Yes, right after I understand what happened, next question I'm going to ask myself is, what should I do about it? And if I'm a very experienced analyst, maybe I know by myself or if I have some regular procedures. But here actually, Security Copilot tailors a set of recommended actions specifically to this incident, and it also helps me with insights that it learned from my system. For example, the first thing I will do is I need to classify this incident. I need to determine whether it's a true attack or potentially a false alarm. So the first step here is the Security Copilot recommendations. Tells me that I had 3 similar incidents in this organization that were classified as true positive as this type of attack in the past. And so based on that history, it's likely that this is also one of those incidents. And so it recommends to classify it as that same type of attack. So I don't need to do a lot more. If I trust that, and I trust the fact that these incidents happened in the past and are similar, I will just take that recommendation and make that classification. the next recommendation is going to be for containing this incident. So I have to take some action pretty quickly to stop the attack from progressing and contain it. But here, actually, the system already did it for me. So we have a lot of smart things in our system. There is a feature that we probably heard about in the show before, which is attack disruption. Automatic
Yes.
attack disruption identified this incident as one that should be disrupted, and it already automatically invoked the containment action, which was to suspend Jonathan Walcott's account because his account is compromised. And it actually did it both on the AD user, which is an operation that we do on Microsoft AD identity, but also the SAP user was locked. And this action is actually done on the, over the SAP connector from Sentinel. So we have this, again, this capability in the unified security operations platform that just came out. But the nice thing is that Copilot also knows about the fact that the system already handled this step, and it won't make a recommendation to contain. It will just say, okay, this recommendation actually was done, right? The user was suspended by attack disruption.
But it will now still tell you a few things that you might want to look at and make sure
Exactly.
things are clean.
Yes, because containing is just, okay, I just blocked it. Now it's not going to continue, but there's still things that happen here. I have to investigate if this is the entire, if I'm scoped correctly, if I see the entire attack, and then I have to remediate it because there has been impact still, even though the attack was blocked. So the next thing, Copilot will tell me, okay, you should investigate the scope of this incident. But you know what? I actually did most of the work for you. And
Are you telling me now that it's creating my advanced hunting query for me?
it not, yes, and more. It is creating your advanced hunting query. Basically, what it's doing is it's taking all the indicators that appear in this incident, including the IP addresses and the URLs, any indicators that could be indicative of the attacker infrastructure.
Indicators is the same as evidence, just because of the
So
wording or different?
indicators, I use the term because of indicators of compromise, which is usually things like IP addresses, domain names, file names and hashes, email titles, anything that it is part of potentially identifying an attacker. The reason now they are represented as entities in the graph. Entities is just a more generic word. We use entities for all the nodes in the graph. Some of them are indicators or evidence of the attacker, and others may be assets like the devices and the users and the mailbox, for example, in this case.
Okay.
So entity is a more generic word. But here I'm just using the indicators because I'm looking for, can I find any more evidence that this attacker was in this environment elsewhere outside of what I'm seeing here. And so I'm taking those indicators, not me, Copilot actually took those indicators, went and matched them against the TI that we have in the system, found a match to this actor called Cosmic Links, and now it queried to find all the other potential activities from these indicators known to be related to this actor across my entire estate. So yes, it created that query for me. And if I want to go and see it, I can actually click on Advanced Hunting. And that takes me to the Advanced Hunting experience. We know it very well, but there is an addition. The addition is the Security Copilot Assistant here on the right. And here it's pre-populated with the first search that it generated, right? It searched for all connection attempts from the indicators associated with Cosmic Links. This is the query that it generated, and the query is pre-populated and the results are shown. This assistant, what's nice about it is you can type down here in natural language any query you want to make. Like, I want to know what did Heike do in the morning today? I don't know. No,
Wow.
something that's related to cyber. But what did this user do? Where did he log in? Any kind of query that you would try to write in KQL, you can just describe in words, and Copilot will generate for you the matching KQL, and you can add it in here, get the results. In this case, it was kind of pre-generated, but we can also ask it more questions about this information that it found, and there's even suggestions for how to filter or make the query more refined, because we see that there's a lot of results here. Maybe we want to refine it a little bit. In this case, it suggests, it found all these connections to these actors indicators, but we only want to see successful connections, because you can see some here are successful and some are failed, right? So the failed ones, maybe we're not so interested in. The successful ones we're interested in, because it means they actually potentially got access to those systems. So let's do that. We just ask it, show only successful connections.
But it
Now,
even had that as a suggestion. This is amazing. It's
it
like,
has it as suggestion. Also, it remembers the previous query that you asked, right? So you don't have to say again, show me the successful connection attempts from indicate. No, you just tell it like a discussion, like a conversation.
I need
Um,
Copilot for my brain, Corina. Like it remembers what you
yeah,
asked
me too.
before and what's like, oh my goodness, this is
Me
awesome.
too. Me too. Yes. And what it does is it adds the relevant, additional filter. You can see here in the query, it added the action type connection success. Run it, and now we get the results for just the successful connections. Now, let's say we are actually happy with these results. What we found here is that there were 2 additional successful connections from an IP that belongs to this actor, for which we saw in the incident, to a device name called Sarah PC.
Yeah.
Now, this device is not in our original incident. So
No.
that means we found another device that is involved potentially in this attack, because there's activity from the actor to it. So we just use the very nice feature of linking to incident from advanced hunting. We take this event, we create an alert for it, and we add it into the incident. And what happens now is that we get an updated incident with the new PC, all the new links that we have here. And in fact, we can get an updated Copilot recommendation set, that also includes the changes that were made. Now, because we added a device, we want to actually also look into what happened on this device, and not only this connection, but maybe something happened before or after. The attacker probably operated on this device if they were able to connect to it successfully. And you can see here on this device, we find a PowerShell script. The PowerShell script that likely belongs to the attacker. We can see that it's encoded. And usually what happens here is an analyst will copy this content into a tool that decodes the script, and then they will go line by line and try to read the script and reverse it basically, and understand what it's doing, because it's important to know what was the attacker trying to do on this device. But you notice we have an analyze script button here, and it is marked as Copilot. So let's click it. And what happens then is magic, because Security Copilot here actually does the reversing for us. It tells us what exactly this script is trying to do. Of course, it also decodes it, but also tells us in words what is the script doing. It's an encoded PowerShell, performs some actions like copying files, compressing them into a zip archive, and so on. This is the summary. And here's the detailed actions, sets the shared path, and so on. And you can see for each piece, even the code pieces that are relevant for it. So in essence, this, first of all, saves you the time of having to do manual reversing of the script. Second, it even teaches you, right? Because you can now, if you're not so savvy with PowerShell, you can now see, okay, this piece does this and this piece does that. So this is a very popular feature. I think everyone really loves it. And yes, now we know that this is clearly a a script that the attacker brought, and this device was also compromised, and we should probably also handle it.
So, I mean, this is a PowerShell script. And does this work with other scripts? And how is this related to our detonation that is in the system anyway? So, can you share a little bit?
Yes, very good question. So yes, first of all, it works on a variety of script types, actually pretty much everything that we've run into. So certainly PowerShell, a VB script, JavaScript, Bash, and a bunch of others. And even on command lines, just if you even have just a tool with a command line that you don't know what it does, there will be an analyze button there, and it will also be able to tell you what this tool does and what do the parameters mean and so on. So it's pretty versatile. Deep analysis normally operates on binaries, on PE files. And
Mm-hmm.
for that, we will also have some solutions, but pretty soon, not yet. But stay tuned. Yes, we want to get to a point where also for binaries, we will be able to provide a detailed description of what that binary does. A sneak peek, another thing that we're looking to do is extract indicators from these scripts and binaries. So you can see that there is some mention here of different file names and a URL, right? These are all, because this script is an attacker script, these indicators are very important also to potentially search for. But because they were in the script, if the attacker hasn't gotten a chance to use them yet, we won't know what they are. So we can extract them from here. We can put them in our TI database and start searching for them proactively. There's a bunch of things that we can do with that. And this will all be able to happen by Security Copilot automatically. All right, so we are done with our investigation here of this detailed script, and let's go back to our incident and see what Security Copilot recommends to do next. So here we have some remediation recommendations. The first one here is about remediating this compromised account. So remember, we contained the attack by suspending this account, and which was necessary because it was compromised. But Jonathan Walcott cannot use their account until we do some remediation there. So what we need to do is bring them back to operation. And to do that, we need to do some things like resetting their password and forcing a new sign-in and then re-enabling the account. So we could have had those recommendations separately here, but actually we know that there is a user recommendation playbook, like an automated playbook that already does those steps for you.
Where does that playbook come from?
It's a Sentinel playbook.
Ah.
Yes. So
Nice.
again, it's the combined, the platform that is able to identify this.
Yes.
And so, yes, why don't we run that user remediation playbook as opposed to having
I'm a
individual
Defender gal, and now,
actions?
I never heard about playbooks, so that's why now you're
Yes.
showing me some playbooks. I
Right.
need to know where they're coming from.
Right.
Nice.
So Sentinel playbooks are really popular, and there's a bunch of them that come out of the box from Sentinel, with different Sentinel solutions. And there's others that customers can also create using the SOAR capabilities in Sentinel. And they can be used in a variety of scenarios. And here, Security Copilot just recommends it as one of the remediation steps here because it matches the case of this suspended account. And so we can run that user remediation playbook and complete it. And now we have the account remediated. And we can go on to the last recommendation, which is actually one before last, which is resolve the incident as complete and generate a report. Now, the interesting part is the generate a report. Why? Because this is something the SOC analysts normally do as, once they resolve the incident, now they have to write a summary of what they did, what happened, what's the state of things. Everything is right there. So it's there for different reasons for future cases where you want to go maybe and review, maybe to do like retrospectives on cases and so on. And we hear from customers that this is a very time-consuming and not fun task for SOC analysts. And here, actually, it's right up the alley for Security Copilot to do this
Especially
for
they
you.
don't have Copilot in the brain, right? So as I said before, so I mean, the demo is now a couple of minutes, but if they do investigations, they forgot I investigated this IP address, or I looked at this user account or this device. So of course, it's super
Exactly.
time consuming to summarize this everything again. And wow,
Yeah.
click it,
Yeah,
click it.
exactly. So they either so they either have this written on like a piece of paper on the side and they have to formulate it. But here it is, right? It's like auto-generated, capturing all the activity. It captures also the summary that we saw at the beginning, and it captures the classification that was done, what investigation actions, what remediation actions, everything that was performed for this incident. And you can use this to copy, put it in another tool, post it back to the activity log as a summary of all the activities, or soon export to a PDF.
So every time you click back on the incident, you can then see that summary again.
Yes, of course. If you attached it back into the activity log, then it will be there at the end of the activity log. So activity log is also, I guess I should say it's a new unified feature in the platform that unifies the Sentinel activity log with the Defender comments and history log. But both of them are actually representing actions that the system or the analyst performed. Any comments that they put in during the investigation are logged there. Any automations that were run and so on. But that is all very long usually because it could be many steps. You put in a lot of pieces, like you said. It could be taking some time to do this whole end-to-end investigation. In the end, you want to have a summary that just summarizes everything there. And yes, you can post the summary back into the activity log. You can also copy and paste it into your case management system or anywhere else that you like.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the journey of how we can use Security Copilot to investigate now much more easily and efficiently. And again, like I said, it's the beginning of the journey. There's going to be many more things to come.
I was just about to say, because I know we have a roadmap. Obviously, we are not talking about it in the show here, but there is a lot of good things coming along the road and more that we don't know yet about, or are not definitely like not in the planning phase or in the execution phase. But this is already super helpful. I'm pretty sure it saves a lot of time. Just about think about the summary at the beginning. What happened? It's much nicer to read it for me. As you said, there's other people that prefer the graphical view and they make their own story up in the mind pretty quickly.
Yeah, and also imagine sometimes those views can be very big, like the incident could be complex. It could be actually, you know, coming out of the screen,
Yes,
not fitting in the screen. And it does take time to follow it and to figure out the pieces. And that attack story told in words really helps
it does.
summarize it and focus it.
I mean, not just this, like everything basically. You showed me afterwards advanced hunting. Natural language, you type what you want, and the Copilot spits you out the query and just runs it for you. The next one, the script analyzer. Wow. Like understanding what a script is capable to do. And this is just wonderful. This is
Yeah.
amazing. Thanks
And then
to
the
the entire.
guidance also, like the
Mhm.
step by step, what you should do. I think that's something that we've learned over time that there is so much to learn from what incidents that occur in our customers' environments, and many analysts don't find it hard to get to that information, to go look for it in the case management system, or maybe in here with hunting queries, search for similar incidents, try to find out what happened there and how should I apply it to this new incident. And all of that is just done here, basically by the help of AI. Not only learning from past incidents, but other sources of how we should best handle these incidents. So that's, I think, also a big help, and that will also continue to expand.
Yes. I have one last question. That little button, Security Copilot in the middle, is this the way for me to then get out of the embedded experience and then land in context in the standalone experience?
So actually, the standalone experience, you can get to it from these three little dots here. Like you see how I have the menu open. More from Security Copilot, that will take us to the standalone. And we will have this in every card, every experience. The Security Copilot here in the middle, it's actually to be able to bring on and off the pane, the Security Copilot pane, because you may at some points want to, do your own thing in the portal and not have that in the way. And so you can turn it off and turn it back on whenever you want to use it.
Yeah. And that we talked about it with Gabriel. The beauty is always that it's in context, right? So
yes. So whenever you move between them here, this experience and the standalone, it will remember the context of what you are doing. So you can continue the investigation there from the point where you left off here, and vice versa. And there will also be context between the different parts where you navigate inside of the portal. So when you go here between panes and you do things here, it will keep the context and kind of again, like I said, the memory of what's happening and where you are and what you need to do next.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So it's like someone is really sitting next to you all the time.
Yes.
A friend.
Just a friend is sitting next to me. That brings me to another last question. If you go in the standalone experience and it's connected to different sources, right? So it might be connected, of course, to, I don't know, Intune or Purview or a third party or something. And it brings something back from these sources and that it learned something. Will that learned something also come back when you go back in the embedded experience?
Yes, I mean, eventually it's going to be the same friend that is there for you all the time, right? So it just has like different, I guess, outfits. Yes, if you learned something that, and you will be able actually to eventually connect to these other systems with Security Copilot also from here, because again, it's the same thing, just a different presentation of it.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, anything that you learned in the standalone, you can pick it up and bring it here and continue to work on it here. Like if you want to do a query on it or anything like that.
That's awesome. Okay, I think we are out of time. We shouldn't do so long episodes. That's why. Thank you so much, Corina. It's always a pleasure to have you with me here on the show.
Thank you, Heike. Same here.
And I hope I will have you back next year. And until then, thanks everyone for watching and talk soon.